Grade B was not there till 83 or 82 or 84 only the first grade B recruitment took place. So I joined in 73. I became grade B only in 1995. It took all the 22 years to become a grade B, which the people who are taking exam now can day one they become day one they become.
After clearing the exam.
Grade B carries with it a lot of responsibility.
Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB. I have with me a very special guest today, Dr. DURAI Rajan. Hello sir, welcome to iExamB platform today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you sir. So Dr. DURAI Rajan has spent almost 38 years with RBI and we'll listen from him only how exciting the journey has been both personally and professionally for him. A very brief background about Sir. Sir had joined RBI in 1973, much before many of us were even born. So in 1973, Sir had joined in the clerical grade as a CNE officer, and he retired in 2011 as general manager. So very long journey, very exciting, and from an era which many of us may not be even aware about how RBI was functioning and how it has evolved over the years. So this is going to be a very interesting talk with Sir, trying to know so much about how things have moved in our central bank and in the banking sector since 1973. So thank you, sir, for once again for taking out time to talk to us today. And welcome to the iExamB platform. We are looking forward to know a lot of interesting things about your journey with RBI.
Yeah, thank you for hosting me in this. It's my pleasure to join and give my experiences with RBI. I joined in 1973 as a clerical staff in the Reserve Bank Chennai office after finishing my MSc in physics.
Right.
This gave a lot of opportunities for youngsters like me to join banks because the banks went in a very big spree of recruiting, both clerical as well as officer staff, because they were mandated by the government of India to expand, to extend the reach to the rural population especially. Because that was the time when in 70, it was the time and the mandate of Madam Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister, to have introduced, thankfully, to the Indian population, what is called a priority sector lending.
Right.
That itself was an epoch-making decision of those days, which even today is a strong pillar of Indian banking to the rural folk.
Absolutely. And this is the time soon after the nationalization.
That was in 69 and it was in 1970. There were two epoch-making schemes introduced. One is that 20-point program of Madam Gandhi, and another is this priority sector lending and a lead bank scheme.
Yes.
These were the catchphrases in those years.
Right.
So the bank's performance was assessed based on those parameters in those days. If they are good only, they will get more licenses for branches and more bank licenses. And that was the time when private banking was not encouraged, because the government thought that banking should not be in private hands or industrialists. Because, of course, they had a reason. They had a socialistic philosophy or ideology. And they thought that if industrialists are allowed to accept public deposits, unlimited amount of public deposits, they will garner the deposits and take it to their industry. They will make industrial expansion. It is only for their own benefit. It won't come to the benefit of the society.
That's even today, sir. So that if we talk about even the bank licensing, universal bank license, even today, sometime back, I think 2 years back, there was discussion about allowing industry promoters or not. So that has
Yes.
been put down because of the same reason that we don't
Yeah,
want
yes,
the money to go to one particular industrialist or group.
correct.
Uh,
Correct.
it should go for the overall development of the country.
After all, it is the society's money you are pooling, and it should go back to society.
Right.
So the rural development assumed significance in those days, and therefore the branch expansion, bank expansion, more branch licenses were given, and so more recruitment followed. And several of my classmates got into banking in those days. But then coming to Reserve Bank, it was a clerical job called the coin note examiner. The main job was to examine rupee notes and find out whether they are reissuable. So it can be reissued for circulation or not. If it is classified as reissuable and not reissuable notes will be destroyed through incineration, and reissuable notes will go for second circulation through currency chest to the banks.
Okay.
In the process, we will weed out totally cut spoiled notes, soiled notes, oil notes, ink return damaged notes, torn notes, all those will be removed. And it was with an intention to reduce the printing cost also, because the good notes which can be put into recirculation can be put back into circulation. And the notes have a life, about 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, like that. One single rupee note can take, including velocity of circulation, how many number of hands it changes, it can have a life of about 7 to 10 years. That is why we find old notes of 10 years also not getting damaged. Unless you deliberately damage it, it won't get damaged. So it has a fiber content, it has a metallic content, all those things are there, and security threads and things like that. So the idea is to extend the life of the rupee notes so that they can be reissued. And in those days, the ATMs are not there. It did not require crisp note to dispense with. Even soiled notes, by touch and count only we used to accept.
Which all other departments you worked in your entire
I worked in first in the agricultural credit, then cash, and then industrial finance department. In those days, we had a IFD. And thereafter, we had a department called DACGC, which was earlier run by Reserve Bank. We are in that department, in that division I worked. And then I came to the issue department, administrative side, not in cash department. Cash also I had served. I was in the issue department, administrative side, which is the general side. That is the leave, pay fixation, penalties, disciplinary action, training, all those things. That is the HR for issue department. So in that I worked. And at that time, these are 84. In 1984, the Reserve Bank staff all over India had a problem with regard to the promotion scheme. So their negotiations failed and they went to Supreme Court. In that, some staff of Reserve Bank in some centers demanded that there should be a common seniority for the Reserve Bank staff all over India to be able to get promoted as per that. Till then, hitherto, the promotion scheme was like this. In each center, whenever there is a vacancy, they will notify to central office that there are 10 vacancies. Suppose Bhopal, they say there are 10 vacancies. So the staff within Bhopal will be, according to seniority, will be selected to become post in that 10 vacancies. Mm-hmm. Similarly, Chennai office will have say 30 vacancies, and the first 30 staff according to seniority will get that promotion. This itself used, and the difference is in Bhopal it used to come in once in 3-4 years, whereas here it took 25 to 30 years to get that for each person. Because number of vacancies were, one important thing I must add here as an aside, that though banks were expanding, Reserve Bank was not expanding that much. The number of regulated entities in branch numbers and bank numbers increased, whereas RBI staff strength or RBI departments did not multiply as fast as the banking industry.
And this was till that time, I think RBI was not recruiting at grade B level, right? They were not.
Grade B was not there. till 83 or 82 or 84 only the first grade B recruitment took place.
Started.
And before that, some grade A recruitment was taking place, 79, 78 and all grade B recruitments grade A recruitments were there.
So was grade B recruitment, in your understanding, did grade B recruitment, direct recruitment start mostly because to fill this gap that number of regulated entities were increasing very fast and there was a need for staff to bring at the officer level? Was that the reason that...
No, that argument is okay, but then considering the number, that is not adequate. No, 100 grade B officers for all over India, 150 officers all over India. And it was also not regular. In those days, once in 3 years, 5 years only they used to recruit. Nowadays, it has become a regular annual feature.
Every year, almost 200 plus.
In those days, it was not like that. In those days, it was not like that. Once in 2 years, once in 3 years, off and on only recruitment advertisements used to come. So the recruiting 100, 200 people at grade B level alone is not going to tackle that problem. The idea was to bring in fresh blood. The one problem with the Reserve Bank at that time was that all people who got promoted also were from within. They had an existing frozen mindset. They won't accept much change.
Right.
They will always be telling this should not happen, we should not do that, this will endanger, this will create problem, that bank will go belly up if we do this. So this kind of fear used to be there because of the regulation aspect of Reserve Bank. And the old mindset was not giving way for much change. So they wanted to bring youngsters. And another thing was that almost all of the people who were promoted as a supervisor or sub-accountant, grade A, grade B at those times, were past 45, 50, 55. So we want to have some youngsters as direct recruits. For 25 years, people should become officers in the Reserve Bank. So that young blood is there, young thinking is there, and willingness to change and experiment will become possible. So these are the reasons why the grade B recruitment started in 82, 84.
It's a very important point also, because now that we see how much I have seen, RBI is one of the very dynamic organizations today, if we say. They're changing very fast, bringing in so many new products, easing the banking, the payment system so quickly. And so I think it's become a very, very dynamic organization. A learning organization, I will say it has always been from the very beginning. Right. So
the Reserve Bank in the past it was not like that, so to say. Maybe that is due to the young blood that has come in and who got promoted, who got into key positions in Reserve Bank like DGM, GM, CGM, ED and all. That could also be a reason. Added to that, I would say the banking environment has been swiftly changing.
True.
2-3 things. It was during Dr. Rangarajan's time, Manmohan Singh, and thereafter Dr. Rangarajan's time, that in a large scale, massive computerization was brought in. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister. He laid great emphasis on computerizing the banks. It was in 1984. The banking industry, in fact, they opposed tooth and nail the introduction of computers in banks. They were afraid that jobs will be lost if computers come. To some extent, it was true also. It is true also. But then different jobs are created. That's
different
all.
Jobs. True. I would also say that
nowadays,
of jobs
to draw an analogy, nowadays, people are afraid of AI.
Absolutely. Today we are thinking the same way. What earlier generations would have thought about computers.
Several AI engineers will be created. Several AI companies will be created. Several new way of handling things would emerge. Right. This is what happened in hindsight post-computerization. But at the time, in 1984, when we nudged the banks to go for large-scale computerization, they were not willing. First, it involved huge capex. Second, people are not experienced and proficient in computer
Learn,
handling.
yeah, so they need to learn new skills to use
And
it.
banking people in those days were average age was 45, 50. So yeah, looking at a 50-year man to learn computer at 50 and then put into banking practice was a difficult job. So banks were very lethargic in introducing computers, so to say. Though it was introduced for the first time as per mandate of Rajiv Gandhi in 1984, it actually took shape in 1990s only, 95, 96 only. More or less, computerization in banks became stable. So computerization is one of the important landmark decisions and a landmark development in banking that has taken banks to a great height as it is today. But for which these things are not possible. The olden physical notebook type of ledger handling and then very monotonous job of doing banking, accepting deposit and just lending. No other new product, no variations, not even vehicle loans and housing loans. This kind of explosion in vehicle loans, personal loans, housing loans, credit cards, and of course these days the fintechs, digital banking, mobile banking, ATM itself was something rare. It was people used to see with surprise how a machine is giving you rupees instead of going to a bank. No, those were the days. So banking transformed digitally, and the first step was computerization in 1984. Till 1984, I was in different departments, as I told. Up to the last was in DICGC, Department Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation of Reserve Bank. And thereafter, it became a separate department, and a separate company from Reserve Bank, subsidiary. Till then, it was one department of Reserve Bank earlier. We used to sanction the deposit insurance.
Okay.
Similarly, we had a credit guarantee scheme. We used to sanction for the NPA loans, the 75% guarantee was there. The credit was guaranteed.
So this is now what DICGC is handling.
Yeah. Presently, it is a separate company. It was funded by Reserve Bank. Capital is owned by Reserve Bank. And now the premiums are coming, and they are like an insurance company, any other insurance company. And it was a first insurance company for banking deposit and banking credit. So after the department, this Supreme Court case went on for a promotion scheme for all over India, a national seniority. It should be brought in. That was the case. So in that case, the bank and the employees association, who were the large majority representing the staff, they entered into an agreement and said that nearly one third only will go for all India promotion and merit scheme, whereas the remaining will be promoted locally as is hitherto. So the old practice of promotion locally also exists, and merit promotion, like who are willing can take the test and go on transfer. The bank insisted that if you want a merit promotion, like IAS officer, you will be posted to anywhere in India. Only if you agree to the condition, you should take the merit test. Whereas those people who do not want to move out, who are already 20, 25, 30, 35 years experienced in the bank, and we didn't want to go out of Chennai or the respective places. So they said, no, we don't want whenever you want to promote, we'll stay here only. So there are two streams of promotion. One is the merit promotion, the other is the existing local seniority promotion.
Okay.
So that is how the Reserve and promotion scheme was there. And in that, fortunately, I took that merit scheme. And the first exam was conducted in August 1984, and results came out in May 1985. And 31st May 1985, I was transferred to Calcutta office. Never, not even seen in the map in those days.
So,
for a deep South Indian in Tiruchirappalli, come to Chennai itself was a great leap. And from here to go to 2,000 kilometers away to Calcutta, every member in the family objected. Don't go, no need for promotion. Here the next house uncle is there. He has been serving the Reserve Bank Chennai office for such a long time. Why you should go? I said, no, in Reserve Bank, getting a promotion is only after 30 years, whereas I have put in only 13 years, 1-3, by the time I got this promotion. So I won't leave it, I will go. So I left by the time I got married and my wife and child, we left here and I went alone to Kolkata to taste the experience of officer grade A and to carrying a transfer order.
Okay.
So that was a eye-opener for me, and it entailed a lot of difficulties of settling in a new place, learning the picking up the ropes, and then learning the language, and gelling with the local people, getting the work done. After all, once you become an officer, you have to get the work done. You have to interact with the staff. You have to interact with the staff and ask them to do things and get the work, and then report it to your superiors that this is done, this is not done for this reason and all. So Calcutta was a very good experience.
So I will intervene. I will intervene here, sir. So, like you said, in the back then, it must have been a difficult decision taking up the promotion on one side and then moving to another unknown place. In today's time, if I say the unknown part, at least has definitely reduced.
Yes,
Everything about
to a great extent.
how the people are, how the lifestyles are, and with so many amenities reaching every part of the country today, at least we don't have to worry about the everyday
Exactly.
everyday things like how the house will be, how my eating habits will be. I can get my own eating habits any part of the country today, which may not have been possible that time. So my question here is, sir, today also, many students who are preparing would, worry about what about transfers, how to handle them, how is the transfer policy, can I have some say or request, will RBI listen to me if I don't want to be transferred, or my spouse is, in another city, can I have similar transfers? So how does one look at transfers and how does RBI handle transfers?
Let me tell you an interesting thing.
Okay.
I was in Calcutta. I had been sent to Gangtok on a bank inspection. I was in the Department of Banking Supervision. We had to go for bank inspections. I was asked to go to Gangtok, Sikkim,
Right.
where I had to do the State Bank of Sikkim inspection along with the team, of course. Superiors were there. From Calcutta itself, for talking to my wife or my parents, I had to go to the GPO and stand in the queue after 10 o'clock in the night so that the half tariff will be there for STD. Post 10 o'clock, it used to be 50% tariff. So we used to stand in queue and pay upfront some amount of 20 rupees, and thereafter only your call will be connected. Then you will speak, and then at the end you will pay the balance and go. So once a week affair. Telephoning was once a week affair in those days. To my wife, to my parents, my in-laws, I used to speak only once a week, Sunday night or Saturday night. Saturdays were working days.
So after listening to this, I would really say we have a luxury.
Exactly. See the mobile phones.
Yes, I will not even say it's a necessity or anything. Compared to what it was, it's a luxury. You can just pick up.
Now school children are having. Every school child is having a smartphone these days in hand.
And it's
okay. That is one communication part. Communication part has developed a lot. It has changed the way people live, and I would very strongly say that standard of living has definitely improved over the years. Well, say 50 years, 40 years. So that was the first one. Second one is adjusting to the new place, new language, new climate, and then new surroundings, new schooling for your kids. And if your spouse is employed, getting her employed there. And these are some of the difficulties I also faced. My wife was employed in another bank and she did not get a transfer for some time. So and thereafter, the transfer was given, it was in a distant place, and then we managed it. Being in Reserve Bank, when somebody hire up telephones, so they will oblige in those days. Nowadays, it's even that is not possible in those days. So I managed to get after 1 or 2 years, I had reposting to Calcutta and all. So we spent nearly 6 years. My daughter joined in, was admitted in a good formal convent school. All these were happily going on. By the time my due date for transfer has come, 5.5 years are over. After 3 years, they will prepare a list. Those who completed 3 years in a center, they will prepare a seniority list. And from the topmost 5, 6 people will be transferred every year. So that list, my number has come by 5.5 years. And we were asked to go on next transfer. I was transferred to Trivandrum.
If I say now, looking into the hindsight, of course, it were transfers must have been difficult. So
In
a lot
fact,
of physical effort was also had to be made, and financial, as you said, that time was not there. Now we have, I think,
yes,
RBI
yes,
does
yes.
provide, and the policies are there. How would you say, was it all worth it?
Definitely, definitely. It has added to your experience. It has given strength to your exposure and outlook of life. You are seeing different people, different cultures, and different ways of living, different ways of handling problems.
Mhm.
In Calcutta, people used to handle my problem in a different manner. I used to handle it in a South Indian fashion, my problem. If I go to Kerala, they used to handle the same problem in a unique manner.
Right.
So you can observe how the same problem they are attending so easily, carelessly, whereas we found it very difficult to handle that. So
Right.
from that you pick up a lot of threads and learn many new things.
Mhm.
I learned Malayalam, I learned Bengali. I can even now read Bengali newspaper. Malayalam I started learning because my daughter was admitted in a school for 4th standard. They said up to 8th you have to study Malayalam. So we bought a new ABC book in Malayalam and started learning, both my daughter and myself. We
Great.
started learning, I picked up, I started teaching her Malayalam for her exam, that kind of thing. And Malayalam, I used to enjoy Malayalam films like anything. No film can match in India the standard Malayalam films.
The craze is now catching up, across the country. Even now, if I say,
Yes,
back then for you, but today, not just Malayali movies, Telugu movies, all of them are getting so
yes.
much, you know,
Mohanlal was a deity for us in those days.
yes.
We used to enjoy every one of his movie. He was there.
Now we are seeing so many stars come up and being liked across the country, not just in.
Even now, I see in TV, YouTube and all. I select Malayalam movies and see. I am a
Absolutely.
fan. I am a fan of Dulquer Salman and Fahad Fasil.
Okay.
Both their films I enjoy a lot, and they do extremely well.
Yes.
And many leading actors of the past pale into insignificance in front of these new guys. They do extremely well. So you can enjoy culture. I have seen their Kathakali there. In Kerala, in Calcutta also, I have gone. I enjoyed Rabindra Sangeet. I have gone to several of their dramas. Those days, the dramas are famous. We used to go and see. Nowadays people don't even go to cinema theaters. People used to stand in queue, buy tickets, and go for dramas in those days.
Right.
In Bengal, I have gone there. So you can enjoy different shades of culture. Though within India, you will find life very interesting in different parts. Only thing is you need to be adaptable. You are ready to adapt to anything. You should go accept a transfer with an open mind.
Very true, very true. And
Let us go and learn things. Let us go and face it. That is how you should handle.
True, very rightly said. And I will reiterate here for other students who are preparing. And if this is a question in your mind, what about transfer and all? So I will say, with all the difficulties in the 70s, in the 80s, if Sir could do it and, today stand and feel proud, that is something I learned.
Today, in 2
I think
hours, you can reach any place in flight.
yes, and we are connected all the time on mobile, WhatsApp. Video calling is there. Everything is there. So I think transfer should not be one thing that should
It
scare
is a
you.
non-issue these days. Although
Non-issue.
I am
Yeah.
laboring hard to explain the difficulties, but these are all things of the past.
Yes, and as you said, it's a non-issue. The transfer should be a non-issue if you are working hard and ready to crack the grade B exam and reach there. Then after reaching there, this should not be an issue at all. This should not stand in the way.
But this may be one of the considerations for girl students. Like, they may be worried that what happens if I get married, or because of this transfer, I am in a distant place, my marriage may not happen, or may happen, and finding a husband employed there will be difficult. Now, this kind of apprehension should be there. See, the point I want to drive is even they need not have this apprehension, and these are manageable.
These are very
manageable, and these can be handled. And there are definitely way out to handle all these things. And things work out. Many have done it, so you can also do it. That is the kind of feeling I would give, or the confidence I would give it to the students, that a transfer should not be hampering your decision to accept a promotion or joining grade B and all. And Reserve Bank is a very learning organization, as you are telling. A lot of scope for your personal development, improvement, educational improvement, and all. As I told you, I just joined as a raw MSc in the Reserve Bank. And then first immediate requirement is to pass your CIIB.
Right. So I will add here, sir has actually done his MBA in finance, and sir is also holding a PhD, and he did his PhD in foreign exchange side. So, after his MSc in physics, he completed his CAIB as a banking requirement, but he's also gone on to do his MBA in finance and his PhD. So, sir, yes, continue. I wanted to add this when you said, learning organization and learning opportunities.
Yeah.
So if you could add about that.
The Reserve Bank gives a lot of scope for people to develop themselves personally, especially in the educational front. There are scholarships available now from Reserve Bank, Golden Jubilee Scholarship. Even people can go abroad and do some MBA and kind of things, post-graduate certificates and all. Nearly 1 year they put the bill for Golden Jubilee scholars. Other than that, time-wise, the Reserve Bank gives a lot of time for you to explore your educational pursuits. And having been in the bank for about 10-15 years, after becoming officer in 1985, only I decided that I should do MBA in finance. So at that time, I tried for part-time and all. I found it difficult to get admissions. With some 10-15 years experience, they were not taking. Nowadays, the MBA for employed professionals, working professionals, online MBAs have come. In those days, they were not that. And MBA was difficult to enter into. Unfortunately, Indira Gandhi National Open University introduced MBA for educated employed professionals with the minimum 3 years supervisory experience. So with that qualification, basic qualification of 3 years supervisory experience, I joined MBA in 1988 in that, Indira Gandhi National Open University. I selected finance as my specialization because I have been in the banking for 15 years or so. So I did it. It took about 4 years to complete. Year-wise, they give a diploma kind of thing. So if you complete all the 4 diplomas, you can exchange it for an MBA. All the courses required for an MBA is covered in 4 independent diplomas. You can stop with 1 diploma, you can pursue the second, you can pursue the third. And if you complete all the 4, all the papers of MBA are covered, and therefore you can exchange it with an MBA. So I accepted it and I joined and I finished it. That was a great satisfaction. And every Sunday I used to go for their study center classes in St. Xavier's College in Kolkata and Institute of Management in Government in Trivandrum, in those places. And the transfer was in between. My study materials will not reach, my hall ticket will not reach. All those issues were handled, and then both last few years in Calcutta and the next 2 years in Trivandrum, I completed that MBA. Okay. After finishing MBA, somewhere in 95, I was transferred to become grade B. So I joined in 73, I became grade B only in 1995. It took all the 22 years to become a grade B, which the people who are taking exam now can day one they become day one they become.
After clearing the exam.
Grade B carries with it a lot of responsibility. My wife transfer was difficult to get in Trivandrum. She had to wait for 2 years to get placed in Trivandrum. So from 91 to 93 end, she was not employed. She was not getting a posting. 93 end only she got. 94 end they asked me to move to Chennai. So I said, because my wife is employed here and my child was also small. At the time my son had born and he was just less than a year. So because of these reasons, give me 1 year time at least. And I had completed just 4 years in Trivandrum. 6 years in Calcutta, 4 years in Trivandrum, 10 years were over. So they took a policy that those who have completed 10 years under merit scheme can go back to the centers. So it is not can, they said should. They transferred me to Chennai. I even refused. I said that I gave a representation saying that please do not transfer me. I have not completed 5 years in Trivandrum. Allow me to spend 1 more year here due to these difficulties and all. They said, and if you don't want promotion, you can stay here. If you want promotion, you should go. So I had to accept promotion. Once again, promotion was the bait, and then I had to take it. And then my wife finally, I won't blame it, but finally my wife had to leave the job. Once for all resigned. Fortunately, the voluntary retirement scheme, VRS came in the banking industry. So she took it in 2000. So till 2000, somehow here and there we managed for some days here, some days there, and then she was posted to some branch for 6 months and kind of things. And finally, she, the first chance, the VRS scheme, she accepted it and came out to solve one problem of the of the banking career. So in 95, I came here as a grade B. I was promoted here. And then as grade B, I was posted in foreign exchange department. That was the first time I was introduced to foreign exchange. In the exports division, imports division and all, I was posted. I was manager for those 2-3 divisions. And in those days, non-resident deposit division was there. NR accounts department. NR accounts division, imports division, exports division, foreign investment division, overseas investment division. 5 divisions were there. So in all the 5 divisions, 2-3 divisions per manager used to be there. So I was handling. From that, I learned a lot of export, import management, foreign exchange, what is exchange rate, what is FID, what is FIA, what is OID, all those things I picked up there only.
Was this posting the reason that motivated you to do your PhD in economics?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to tell. See, the department, so far it was just a so-so career only. In this foreign exchange department, being a specialist department, there used to be a lot of requests for guest lectures. So our general manager, one Mr. Chari was there. He said, I can't go for every now and then leaving my responsibility in the office, because that office department, foreign exchange department in those days, 95, FERA regime. In 95, a lot of controls, a lot of approvals we used to give. Some 200 staff will be there in the single department, 150 to 200 staff. So he said, when I leave the job, I'll go for 1 hour lecture, traveling and to the place and coming back, 3-4 hours are lost. I can't go. I will send all managers and AGMs one by one in turn for lectures. So that is how I was introduced to lecturing. So he said, you go for this. So every now and then, in those days, the foreign investments, technical collaborations, foreign investments, all these lot of policy changes, post 1991 liberalization, no? So these things started happening. So banks are not very much familiar with all these changes. So they needed some expert from Reserve Bank to come and tell them what should be done, how it should be done, what kind of forms to be filled in, what kind of approvals need to be taken, who will approve, who will not approve, what things will be approved, what things will not be approved. This kind of hand-holding was necessary. For that, we used to get a lot of opportunities for lectures. Almost every week, I used to go for a lecture. And now some of the officers, even though grade B, were reluctant to take lectures. They were not willing. So in me somehow, because of right from my MNC days, I was thinking that I will become a lecturer. So my mindset was to address people. So that is how I was groomed. So this lecture opportunity was very interesting and very challenging. The kind of preparing and then addressing questions from the audience, especially chartered accountants, company secretaries, CA Institute, IIT Chennai, several colleges, Vellore Institute of Technology. I have gone to Administrative Staff College in Hyderabad. I have gone to Institute of Public Enterprises in Hyderabad, while in Hyderabad. Now, so many institutes, so many universities, Chennai University, all those places I have gone and delivered lectures, mostly on foreign exchange.
And within RBI also, you've been with the Reserve
Yeah,
Bank
that comes next. After 4 years in the foreign exchange department, with lecturing also behind me as a plus point or a new feather in my cap, so I went for that, applied for that faculty job.
Mhm.
So faculty, the recruitment every year used to take place with a limited number, about 5 to 10 people will be selected all over India for manning 3 colleges. 3 colleges and a few zonal training centers. Zonal training centers are meant for clerical training, and colleges are Staff College in Chennai, RBI Staff College, Bankers Training College in Mumbai in those days, and then College of Agricultural Banking in Pune. So these 3 colleges were run by Reserve Bank for training their officers. So officers training, grade A, grade B, grade C, up to general manager, they used to come for training. So for that, there used to be a recruitment. I applied for it. And they used to ask 5 minutes lecturing on some topic. They will give a topic in extempore, you have to speak on that for 5 minutes. That is part of the interview process. So they gave a topic related to foreign exchange, because I wanted to apply a specialization area foreign exchange I had given. They were looking for it, and in those days, even now, the specialized people or expert people in foreign exchange is few. All over India, even today, even in banks, even in well-known foreign banks, foreign exchange experts are less. They may have a system, they may have software to handle it, but knowledgeable people in this subject as such are very, very less than required. The demand is more, but supply is much less. So in the staff college, I was specialist in foreign exchange. I used to give a lot of lectures, conduct special trainings in foreign exchange, not only for our officers, even commercial banks officers, ADs, we call it now authorized dealers. We call them and give them training and foreign exchange matters, including how to fill up our returns and submit it. All kind of training in foreign exchange I have given, balance of payment, foreign investments, monitoring foreign investments, reporting in foreign investments, overseas investment division. So those areas I had handled. So while being there,
given your experience in foreign exchange, you would have seen how RBI moved into its role of managing foreign exchange. The FEMA era that came in later.
And it was a very interesting development. From foreign exchange regulation area, the Foreign Exchange Management Act itself was passed. The Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 was passed and implemented in 2000, early 2000.
Right.
So at the time, we had to introduce the new act. How it is different from FERA was to be introduced to the bankers.
Yes.
So we conducted a series of workshops, inviting 30, 40 officers for each workshop. Maybe 15, 20 workshops we conducted for South India alone in the staff college. I used to handle several sessions, and of course, people from central office also used to come and say how this is different from the past.
Right.
Now, one major development after 1991 liberalization is that we faced the worst crisis in BOP in 1991.
Right.
We didn't have not even $1 billion. We cannot handle not more than 3 weeks of imports in those days. Import payment we can manage only for next 3 weeks. That was the position. From that, we are now $650 billion of foreign exchange reserves we have today. So that kind of development has taken place. So the building up of foreign exchange reserves have become a challenge to the government of India, and the task was entrusted to the Reserve Bank. Building up foreign exchange reserves and then deploying it, carefully maintaining, preserving the capital, not wasting or losing, and also managing exchange rate. These are all some of the obligations of Reserve Bank. The maintaining foreign exchange reserves, maintaining exchange rate stability, managing exchange rate volatility, and then communicating the Reserve Bank policy stance to the public and bankers, not only public and bankers in India, to the World Bank, IMF also we have to give. We are accountable to IMF because we are following the standards.
So I have one question. I'll intervene here. When you said RBI's job is also to manage the volatility in the rupee and the foreign exchange. Sometime back, IMF actually accused RBI of saying that RBI that RBI is intervening a lot and is actually managing the rupee. So, what would you say? Was RBI really doing its job? It's a stated job of RBI to manage the world.
Yeah, I believe.
What is
the price stability is the major objective as enshrined in the preamble to the Reserve Bank of India Act. It is not price stability vis-a-vis the domestic price only, that is inflation control, inflation management, targeting, etc. It is also price stability with respect to the foreign exchange management. And foreign exchange management being the sole prerogative of Reserve Bank of India, it has been entrusted to Reserve Bank by the government. So as an agent of government, we are maintaining the government's portfolio of the foreign exchange reserves. And the Reserve Bank deploys it. See, the inflows and outflows of the capital account, now in between, in 1994, we came out with as a part of economic liberalization and development, we came up with the current account convertibility. All current account transactions like interest, dividend, all those things, or salaries, all those things are transferable easily without RBI intervention, without seeking RBI approval. The powers have been delegated to the authorized dealers. Banks can allow. So that kind of things have come. That was a current account convertibility. And there was a lot of talk, including Tarapur committee report on capital account convertibility and all. They had set certain milestones. If you achieve these milestones, you will be able to move over to capital account convertibility. We are not yet, as yet, we are not capital account convertible. The only fear is that if you allow capital account convertibility, the entire assets of the nation could be sold in India, and all people can take away the dollars and go. We have after all $650 billion, and we have 140 billion people. If everybody wants, they will get only $5 each or $6 each. Sufficient foreign exchange may not be available at that time. So you have to build a huge reserves, or your currency should become internationally acceptable to be able to move over to capital account convertibility. Of course, it can be done in phases. We are, so to say, we are practically, to a great extent, we are capital account convertible. For example, an NRI can take all his earnings from India after paying necessary taxes. Even resident individuals like you and me can take every year $250,000 under liberalized remittance scheme.
Under the
The thing is, you should have the rupee equivalent for $250,000 in your bank account.
If RBI is calling it LRS, liberalized remittance scheme, I think it's quite liberal. $250,000 is a huge amount.
Who has $250,000 in India?
As an individual, yes, as an individual, and for every individual, every financial year, I think it's a liberal limit.
Very liberal. So the name itself is correctly given, like liberalized remittance scheme. So the scheme itself gives, it is allowing you to take $250,000 every year if you have sufficient resources in India. So there is a certain amount of capital convertibility available as part of the current account transaction itself. It is big. So there should be a clear distinction between current and capital account transactions. Capital account transactions relate to or refers to mainly the bank deposits or investments into India, or loans taken from abroad or loans given abroad. So these are the loans and investments come under capital account, for which the approval routes are there. Automatic route is there. RBI approves. RBI administers the automatic route. Approval route is in certain areas and for certain countries and certain nationals. The approval from Government of India has to be taken. So capital account convertibility has become a very easy affair these days. Though there are controls, it is not that difficult to carry out your capital account transfer issues. So that is the status now. When we will move over to capital account convertibility, whether we have sufficient resources, whether we have the wherewithal to stand it. Otherwise, what will happen is like Latin American countries, suddenly you introduce this for the heck of experimenting, and then you face a huge failure, means it will be very difficult to retrieve. The country will totally collapse, economy will collapse. So that is the reason why we are a very calibrated approach, very slow approach in introducing capital account convertibility, but in step by step, lot of facilities are given for individuals. Now, I know I come from the era of people coming to Reserve Bank for endorsing $50 in their passport. I have seen cricketers, cinema stars coming to our Reserve Bank Chennai office and take a stamp endorsement from Reserve Bank for taking just $50, $100 to take out of the country and go abroad. Those days were there in 70s, 80s, up to early 91. Because the foreign exchange was so scarce that we used to ration it out. And nowadays, nobody goes to Reserve Bank asking for $50 and all. So we have gone leaps and bounds in the foreign exchange liberalization area. We have built also adequate reserves. A pointed answer to your question that whether Reserve Bank is frequently intervening, etc. The standard, this is a cliche, I would say. The standard answer by the governor, deputy governors of RBI has been, we only manage the exchange rate volatility. As and when there is volatile nature in the market due to sudden lumpy demands and sudden lumpy supplies. Suppose $1 billion, $2 billion come today by means of FII inflows. So somebody has to absorb it. Otherwise, what will happen to the rupee will appreciate, export cannot flourish in that circumstance. So exports will fail. Similarly, if suddenly $10 billion go out of India, what will happen? Imports will suffer. So to manage the economy, to handle the balance of payment, it is necessary that the bank handles the exchange rate volatility well. And the IMF itself permits the intervention as and when required to manage the volatility. We are not targeting that the exchange rate should be 83 rupees, 84 rupees, 82 rupees. So whenever it crosses 82, we will intervene and bring it back to 82. It is not so. On an average, in the early stage, $1 was 31 rupees, 35 paise, 37 paise. So from that, we have come to
83,
85, it went to 88 rupees also sometime back. Now it is 83 rupees. On an average, if you look at the exchange rate history, something around 4 to 5% it has been depreciating. Indian rupee has been depreciating every year 4 to 5%. This is a given. Everybody knows it. This is to adjust for the inflation and interest rate differential between the countries. So if you look at the dollar rupee exchange rate, every year, on an average, it has been depreciating for 5%. It is a given, it is a common phenomenon of Indian rupee. So the criticism that RBI unnecessarily intervenes or intervenes frequently is misplaced. The Reserve Bank officials, deputy governor have also spoken very vocally that RBI intervenes only if necessary and to smoothen volatility.
Volatility, yes. It's
yes.
A very nice point.
They don't target exchange rate. So this is the standard reply. And other than that, it is like, how much is your salary, how much is your savings? If I ask you, you will not tell. Like that, the country will not tell how it does, why it does, when it will do. If you tell all these secrets out, no, there are people who will act against you and bring you down, which happened for even Britain by Goldman Sachs. George Soros did it. In 1992, exchange rate mechanism was maintained by British government. British pound was simply short by George Soros, and it could not be defended. First, government said we will defend it, and then finally they gave it up. So it came down crashing. So this kind of development to be avoided. That is the reason why they won't tell it in advance. There is no timetable when they will intervene, how much they will intervene, 1 billion, 10 billion, 5 billion, like that. According to the evolving market circumstances, they will handle it. The second point, it is like any portfolio manager. The portfolio manager of your mutual funds or shares, they have to give a post information report, post handling, post transaction report, maybe once in a quarter, once a month. But before buying or selling a particular stock, they don't tell you, I am going to buy Tata Motors. They don't tell. After 3 months, they tell we purchased 1 lakh Tata Motors and sold 50,000 Reliance shares. Like that, they will give in a periodic progress report. That is what we are also doing. Once in 3 months, RBI gives a report as to how much was the intervention, how much was the swap, how much was the forwards. All these are disclosed. As per IMF, it is disclosed after a lag of 1 or 2 months. Beforehand, it cannot be told for business secrecy.
Yes, very interesting, sir. I have so many more things to discuss with you, ask you. I think it's endless. I have talked to you before also, off the record. And so many, every time I talk, something new comes out, some new knowledge, some new experience. However, in the interest of time, I think we may have to stop here once, but I will look forward to host you once again, sir, because there's so many more questions that are coming to my mind right now related to the points.
Only as a summing up advice, I would tell the candidates and students preparing for Grade B, it's a very challenging job. It's a very wonderful place to work with. RBI has been a very benevolent employer, takes care of a lot of developments, including perks, have taken place in the Reserve Bank. That it is not the Reserve Bank we started with. Now the Reserve Bank is totally different, with a lot of perks and benefits available. Like everywhere now, I go and transfer readily because I have a quarters waiting for me. Yes. There is no need to fear about where I will go and land. Next day, first day, I will go and take a key from office. Evening itself, I can go to the quarters. That is how RBI life has been. So it is a very benevolent employer. Even after retirement, they take care well. And it gives you a lot of opportunity to grow. For a sincere, hardworking officer, the opportunities are endless. You can improve yourself, your personality, your educational background. No, I forgot to mention about my PhD. Because of my foreign exchange expertise developed over 5 years in the exchange control department, and also as 5-6 years as a faculty in this area and interacting with so many officers of banks, I felt the need that I should enhance my qualification also. More because of a compulsion that several faculties in the staff college were already preparing and undergoing PhD courses. So I thought, why I will not do? I have a specialization, that too a very rare specialization of foreign exchange. It goes waste if I don't complete it. I was already 55 when I joined, enrolled for my PhD. I completed it in 59. And the degree was given just 3 months before my retirement in 2011.
Amazing. I think that's an inspiration.
The convocation took place. The convocation took place somewhere in August or September 2010. I retired in 11.
That's
So
really inspirational. So we keep saying this, we keep hearing this, that your learning never stops. I think I'm now seeing a living example. Learning never stops.
yes, yes.
We
So
have
I joined Madras University, the Commerce Department, Economics Department. I had to pick up a lot of threads, including learning econometrics. I had to learn econometrics from ABC, and then learned it. I applied it for my research, and then showed the results proof, and then convinced my guide, and my paper went to an international guide for approval.
wow.
Thankfully, they also approved it, and finally, I got my PhD in economics. It is economics come commerce. They call it interdisciplinary because it was foreign exchange rate mechanism, and all. It is not pure economics like that macro, micro, though it is coming under macro. And they said that it is an interdisciplinary like that. I said, whatever name you call it, it's a PhD, doctor of philosophy from recognized Indian university like University of Madras, which is 150, 160 years old. So I am really happy. And incidentally, Reserve Bank of India reimbursed my educational expenses for PhD. Something around for 5 years it was some 15,000. 4 years it was 15,000 rupees. I had taken it. I had to complete it. I was under compulsion to complete it and show a certificate to the RBI that I finished it. So I requested the guide also that I am retiring next year. Before that, you please approve it. Otherwise, I'll have to refund that 14,000 rupees. So they also, of course, it was. I have completed my term of 4 years of research, and the paper was lying with them for approval. So they also expedited and gave the approval 6 months before my retirement. So this is one area where if you are working in a commercial bank, this kind of pursuit is generally not possible because of the time, pressure, stress, and then the kind of risks you are taking. You won't have time to think and then improve your educational background. Difficult in commercial banking, but it is quite possible in Reserve Bank. I am an example. I have done it. I have done PhD. Before that, I had done MBA also, both while serving as officer without compromising on quality of my service and quality of my job and my responsibility duties to the bank. These are all only post evening work or weekend work. By that only I had been able to complete it. To the students and aspirants, I would suggest it's a good employer, good salary and perks are nowadays available, and good postings are possible. And if you are lucky, you can land in very good departments like DBS, DNBS, non-banking supervision, or foreign exchange department, or there is a special department in Bombay called the DEPR, or even the DEI, or Department of External Investments and Operations, where the forex reserves, foreign exchange rate management, all these happen. So these are some of the very challenging departments from where you can become an expert. At the end of your career, you will retire as an expert in the field where you served. Maybe banking, maybe non-banking, maybe foreign exchange, maybe issue department. From once you get out, you will become an expert. Your word will be the last word on the subject. That is the kind of expectation one can build on the Reserve Bank job and take it up gladly. That is what I would suggest to the students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
A very, very interesting conversation, very detailed. So thank you so much for sharing so much in detail. It's a rarity. We get so much insight into how the working happened, how you have evolved. One person evolves as an employee, and the evolution also of the employer. To
Yes.
be able to see that and witness that, and you sharing it in so much detail, I'm sure it gives a lot of insight to the students who are looking to make a career with RBI. And it's a great employer, as Sir said, and a lot of things you are taking care of. And it's a huge learning opportunity with very difficult roles, learning roles that you get here. So thank you so much again, sir. For
Welcome. It is my pleasure that I have taken liberty to talk freely. So